I'm 35, American, and I live well in Krabi on $1,150 a month. And today I read you every single baht of it the same way I read my own bank statement. Before I open that column, do me one small thing. If you want real numbers instead of another postcard, subscribe and tap the like. It tells the algorithm to put honest breakdowns like this in front of the people who actually need them. If the rent back home already ate half your paycheck this month, keep that number in your head. You'll want it in a second. Right now, I'm on the balcony of a 1-bedroom just off Ao Nang, 6 in the evening, the heat finally easing off, laptop open on the railing, a spreadsheet glowing, my US clients 3 time zones and a whole ocean away. The warm breeze comes in off the Andaman, carrying charcoal smoke from the night market starting up down the road, and out past the palms you can see the long-tail boats swinging on their lines, and on that screen, the entire month's spend sits in one column. That's it, one column, top to bottom. I'm going to read it to you exactly the way I read it myself on a Sunday morning with a coffee, no rounding, no hand waving, every line in Thai Baht and in US dollars side by side, the way a man reads his own statement. $1,150. That's the whole month, all in. Rent, the electric with the air conditioning, running honest hours, water, the fast fiber I need so a client call doesn't drop, food, the scooter and its fuel, private health insurance, a desk in town, and one thing I flat out refuse to give up. Every bit of it lives in that column, and I know exactly who's watching this. You're a remote worker or a freelancer, or you run a small shop of your own, and you've done the mental math at 2 in the morning. What if I ran the same income from somewhere, the money actually stretched? Somewhere, the winter never comes for you. You're not chasing a vacation. You're pricing out a life. So I'm not going to sell you a feeling here. I'm going to read you a spreadsheet. Now, let me set the stakes honestly, because I've got no patience for the postcard stuff either. Before I moved, I rented a studio back in the States. Nothing fancy, 1 room, a parking spot, a radiator that clanked all winter, $1,800 a month before I bought a single meal. $1,800 gone just for a door that locked and a window that looked at another building. And the grind that covered it never once let that number come down. Every raise I earned, the rent rose right up to swallow it. The commute ate an hour each way, the winters ate the rest. You know that treadmill, you run harder and you stay in exactly the same spot. Here, the number drops, and this is the part nobody prints on the thumbnail, it only drops because I did the boring paperwork right. The non-B business visa, the annual filing, the way my little company bills back to my clients in the States so every dollar lands clean and legal, that thread runs underneath every single line I'm about to read you. Get it wrong, and the whole column collapses. You're overpaying, you're scrambling, you're one bad form away from a real mess. Get it right. And $1,150 a month is just an ordinary Tuesday. Let me hand you something real before I ask you for one thing. Rent. In a beach town like Krabi, a clean 1-bedroom off Ao Nang runs you about a quarter of what the same kind of beach town costs back home. A quarter. Picture that the water out front is warmer, the place is bigger, and you're paying 25 cents on the dollar to wake up to it. That one gap right there is most of the distance between $1,800 and $1,150. And I haven't even started counting the rest yet. And that gap is exactly where people trip. After a few years running my life and my clients from Thailand, I watched smart people, founders, freelancers, folks who could build anything overpay for space they didn't need and botch the non-B visa and the annual filing over and over, and it cost them thousands. So I wrote it all down, the same line-by-line budget worksheet I'm reading from tonight, plus the founder paperwork steps that actually keep you legal and billing clean. It's called One Way Guide. I'll be straight with you. It won't pack your boxes, it won't file for you, and it won't make Krabi cheap if you skip the prep. It's the worksheet and the checklist, not a magic button, and it's honestly not for a tourist who only wants a 30-day look. But if you're serious, the link's in the description. Okay, back to the column. You've seen the highlight reels, so here's the deal. I'm not showing you the view, I'm showing you the receipt. Stay with me and check my math. Because here's the real question, the one this whole thing lives or dies on. Does a genuine itemized month, every line named, every line adding up, actually land on $1,150? Or is this another too good to be true reel that falls to pieces the second you force it to total? Plenty of channels will show you the sunset and never show you the statement. I think that's backwards. The sunset's free. The number is the whole point. So I don't know a cleaner way to prove it than to sit here and read it one line at a time out loud and let you add along with me. So let's read it the way I read my statement top line first. And the top line is rent. Knox Place, the one behind the frangipani tree by the gate, 13,000 baht, $370. That's rent a clean one bedroom off Ao Nang. And Nok, my landlady, the one who keeps that frangipani tree by the gate, hands me the key every month for a place that would run 4 times that in any US beach town with sand this white. 4 times. Sit with that. Back in the States, $370 doesn't get you a parking spot near the water. Here it gets me a bedroom, a kitchen, a balcony, and a breeze off the Andaman while I'm on calls with clients 11 time zones away. So that's line 1 on the statement. $370, and the column's already looking friendlier than my old life. Keep it on screen in your head, because I'm adding to it in real time. Next line, electricity. And this is the one where people brace, because I run the air conditioning. I'm not out here pretending I sweat through the afternoons to save face. Honest hours, mostly evenings and while I sleep, 1,500 baht, roughly $43. That's about what one dinner for 2 costs me on a Friday back home. And here it cools an entire apartment for 30 days. 43 bucks, done. Water's almost funny, 150 baht, $4. I'm not rounding for effect, 4 actual dollars for a month of showers, dishes, the whole thing. In my old place, a single utility bill had a line item bigger than that just for the privilege of being billed. Here it's $4 and I forget it's even a category. Now, internet, and this one matters more than any of them because my income lives on it. 500 meg fiber, straight to the router, rock solid for client calls where a frozen screen costs me money. 600 baht, $17 a month. 17. My old cable bill in the States was north of 60 just for the internet before a single channel, and it dropped mid-meeting more times than I can count. This is less than a third of that, and it hasn't stuttered on me once. 500 meg, 17 bucks. If your internet at home costs more than a decent dinner out, you already know something's off. You've known for years. You just pay it because everyone else does. All right, add those up so far, and you're sitting somewhere around $434, rent, power, water, and the fastest internet I've ever had. And here's where people always gasp. So do me a favor, guess the number in your head before I say it. My whole month of food, every meal, guess, then see how far off you were. 9,500 baht, about $270. And I already hear it. How is that real dinners and not just rice in a bowl? Fair. Here's the honest picture. Most mornings I'm at the market before 7 when the mangoes are still warm off the back of the truck and a woman ladles you a bowl of noodles for 10 baht that's under 30 cents, steaming, better than anything I paid $12 for at home. That's breakfast. That's not sacrifice, that's the good part. And it's not all street food either. $270 a month covers real dinners out, sit-down places with a menu, grilled fish by the water, a beer that's colder than it has any right to be. The market keeps the number low, the nights out are the reward, both are in there. $270, and I eat better than I did paying $400 and picking at it. Getting around, I run a scooter, and it takes me everywhere in town, the market, the co-working desk, the boat pier, all of it. The scooter plus every drop of fuel I burn in a month, 2,500 baht, $71. That's the whole thing, the ride and the gas. Back home, I spent more than that on a single tank and a parking garage in the same afternoon, $71 a month to never once sit in traffic wondering where my life went. Health insurance, real coverage, private, not the hope and a prayer plan, 3,500 baht and even $100 a month, $100. I don't need to tell you what that number looks like in the States. You've seen your own statement. You know the digit count is wrong over there. Here it's 100 and I sleep fine. And one more before I stop the count, the desk. I keep a spot at a co-working place in town because a bedroom balcony is beautiful until you've got 3 calls stacked and you need a door that closes. 2,900 baht, $83 a month, fast desk, quiet room, coffee that doesn't quit. The guy who runs the front counter is Preacha thick glasses, always a pen behind his ear. And when I first walked in asking about the big private office, he looked at me flat and said, "You Americans always overpay for space you don't need." He talked me down to the desk, saved me money on the spot. The man selling me the thing That's the kind of place this is. So let's read the column back the way I read my statement. 370 rent, 43 power, 4 for water, 17 internet, 270 food, 71 for the scooter, 100 for insurance, 83 for the desk, the tally's climbing, and it's climbing honest, every line held right up against what the same thing costs back home, and every single one of them coming in lower. Right now, we're sitting a little under $960, which means we've got room. The number at the top of all this, the whole promise, was $1150. So there's a gap left, and that gap is exactly where the last lines go. 2 numbers are still off the sheet. One of them is barely $9. I hardly notice it leave my account, and honestly, you could almost round it away. The other one is different. It's the single line most people never even write down. They don't budget it. They don't think about it. They find out about it the hard way when it's too late. It's not the biggest number on here, but it is the reason this whole $1150 is even possible. Every clean line I just read, the cheap rent, the client's still paying me US rates, the money landing in an account that doesn't blink, all of it sits on top of this one boring line. That line is my paperwork. That line is the whole trick, so let me sit with you on it for a second. My non-B business visa plus the annual filing my accountant runs for me, spread out month by month, comes to 3,000 baht, about $86 a month, and that's what keeps me legal, keeps my little company clean, and keeps my US clients wiring me money without a single raised eyebrow on either end. Most people leave this off their sheet entirely. They budget the rent, the noodles, the scooter, and they feel like geniuses because the rooms are cheap and the mangoes are warm off the truck. Then they never write down the one line that makes all the other lines even allowed to exist. And this is the line everyone skips, and it's exactly why their cheap life abroad blows up in month 3. Don't skip it. Because here's what happens when you skip it. You show up on a tourist stamp, you start billing clients from a beach town, and for a while, nothing bites. Then the visa run comes due, or a bank wants to know why an American on a 30-day entry is running money through a Thai account, or your client's finance department asks for a tax form you can't produce. Now you're scrambling. Now the flight home costs more than 3 months of the paperwork you refused to file. I've watched it happen to guys who moved here with more savings than me and left rattled inside a year. I did the dull version instead. Before I ever read you a single baht, I sat with an accountant, got the non-B set up, got the company registered, got the filing on a calendar so it happens whether I remember it or not. $86 a month, amortized, quiet, boring, and it's the reason the whole $1150 is real money I actually get to keep instead of a number that detonates the first time somebody official asks a question. That's the thread running under every line I've read you tonight. Rent, power, internet, food, all of it only counts because this one line is handled. So that loop's closed. Now the other number I told you was still off the sheet, the one I barely noticed, phone and data, 300 baht, $9, unlimited enough that I've never once thought about it, fast enough that I take client calls from the back of a Song Theo if I have to, $9 a month. Back in the States, my phone plan alone was pushing 90, said and done, $9. And then there's the last line, the one I refuse to cut. Every budget guy will tell you to trim the extras. I don't. Once a week, I get a proper Thai massage, 60 minutes, hands like a blacksmith, and I book a long-tail boat out to the islands off Krabi, the water, that ridiculous shade of green, the limestone cliffs going straight up out of the sea. 2,500 baht, $71, sweat, salt, sore shoulders, and zero guilt. That's not the fat I trim to make the math work. That's the reason the math is worth doing. In my old life, $71 got me a parking garage and a sad lunch downtown. Okay, that's the sheet. Every line's on the table now, so do the math with me one more time out loud. Rent, 13,000. Electricity, 1,500. Water, 150. Fiber, 600. Food, 9,500. Scooter and fuel, 2,500. Health insurance, 3,500. The co-working desk, 2,900. Phone, 300. The paperwork, 3,000. The massage and the boat, 2,500. Add every one of those up, baht next to baht, the way I read my own bank statement, and it lands at 39,450 baht. 1150. That's the receipt. $1,150. The exact number I gave you in the first breath of this before I'd earned it. Now you've watched me earn it line by line, and it didn't drift, it didn't round up, It didn't hide a second bank account somewhere. It landed on the number. A comparable studio back home ran me $1,800 a month before I'd eaten a single meal or paid a single bill. Walls and a door. That's all 1,800 baht. This 1150 buys me a 1-bedroom off Ao Nang with a balcony, the Andaman breeze coming in warm while my laptop sits open to clients 5 time zones away. A scooter, real food, real coverage, a boat on Sundays, and the papers that keep it all legal. Same month, 2 completely different lives. Now, I know what a chunk of you are doing right now. You're already trying to map this onto your own life. Your rent's different, your food's different, maybe you drink more coffee than I do, or you've got a kid. Good. That's the whole point. And that's exactly what I built into the ebook. It's not a hype reel, and it's not my life pasted on top of yours. It's this same sheet, the same line-by-line worksheet, blank columns in baht and dollars. So you plug in your own rent, your own food, your own indulgence, you won't give up, and watch your own number appear. And because the line that actually saves people is the boring one, I put the founder paperwork in there too, the non-B business visa steps, what the annual filing really involves, the order to do it in, so you don't end up scrambling in month 3. It's the stuff that made these numbers real for me instead of a fantasy. It's in the One-Way Club, links in the description, and it costs less than one of those long-tail boat trips. But you don't need me or the ebook to see the shape of it because you just watched me build it in front of you. So here's your arithmetic, not mine. That's what Krabi costs. Not a highlight reel, not a lucky month, a real, itemized, checkable $1,150 with the ugly legal line included instead of quietly deleted. That's the number you'd need. Sit with your own version of it tonight. Add your rent, your power, your food, the one thing you refuse to cut. See where you land, and whatever you land on, hold it up against what that same money buys you right now, because $1,150 wouldn't cover a studio apartment in most American cities. It wouldn't cover the studio I used to rent before a single grocery run. Here, it covers a whole life. The balcony, the boat, the warm water off the cliffs, the work you already do, just done from a place that lets you keep more of what you make. It's doable. It's honest. I just showed you every baht of it. And it's within reach, genuinely within reach, but only if you handle the dull parts first. Do the paperwork before you chase the beach. Set up the visa, get the filing on a calendar, get the company clean, do that, and the cheap, good life isn't a gamble anymore. It's just math. And now you've got the receipt to prove it.